Ever thought snakes are slimy? Well, think again. Let's dive into the world of these fascinating creatures and shatter some misconceptions. The first one on the list: snakes are not slimy at all. You see, when you touch a snake, you're not greeted with a gooey, slippery texture. Instead, their skin is dry, smooth, and covered in scales. These scales are made of a protein called keratin, the same stuff our fingernails and hair are made of. And here's another fun fact. These scales aren't just there for protection, they also aid in movement. Those long, flexible bodies move with a grace that's both mesmerizing and a little eerie, wouldn't you agree? Despite their reputation for being slippery customers, snakes are far from slimy. They're smooth operators in every sense of the word. So next time you think about snakes, remember, they're not the slippery creatures you once thought they were. What if I told you that snakes can explode? Sounds crazy, right? Well, brace yourselves, because this is a real phenomenon. Now, we're not talking about a firework-style explosion here. Rather, it's a biological blowout that happens when a snake is overfed. You see, snakes are notorious for their ability to eat prey much larger than their own bodies. However, if a snake consumes an excessively large meal, it can lead to catastrophic consequences. The food begins to decay before the snake can fully digest it. As a result, gases build up inside the snake's stomach, causing it to swell. If the pressure becomes too great, the snake's stomach can rupture, leading to what can only be described as an explosion. So be careful not to overfeed your pet snake unless you want a messy situation. This is just one of the many fascinating yet somewhat gruesome facts about snakes that we're sharing today. Ever wondered how snakes can swallow their prey whole? It's all thanks to their incredibly flexible jaws. Now, snakes don't have a chin like you and I. Instead, their lower jaw bones are split into two halves, joined by a stretchy ligament. This allows each half to move independently, and that's not all. The upper and lower jaws of snakes aren't fused together like ours. They're connected by highly elastic ligaments that let the mouth open really wide. Combine this with the split lower jaw, and you've got a mouth that can stretch around prey larger than the snake's own body. But wait, there's more. Even a snake's skull isn't rigid. It's made of several bones that can all move independently, helping the snake to walk its jaws around its meal. To top it off, snakes have rear-facing teeth to grip their food and guide it downwards. So snakes can enjoy a big meal without needing to chew. Imagine a snake in space. What do you think would happen? Now picture a world with no up or down, a boundless expanse where gravity doesn't hold sway. That's space for you, and for our slithering friends it's a whole different ballgame. Snakes, you see, are terrestrial creatures. They've evolved over millions of years to master movement on solid ground. But in zero gravity? Not so much. When snakes find themselves in such an environment, they tend to spin uncontrollably. This is because their bodies, accustomed to the constant pull of gravity, don't know how to cope with its sudden absence. It's like being on the most disorienting roller coaster ride, only there's no off switch. Snakes in space would be like fish out of water, quite literally spinning out of control. So, it seems, despite their many impressive skills and adaptations, snakes might not make the best astronauts after all. Did you know that snakes see the world quite differently from us? Yes, these slithering creatures have a unique vision that sets them apart. Unlike humans, who perceive the world around us primarily through visible light, snakes have a secret weapon. They can see infrared light. This means they can detect heat radiated from their prey, even in complete darkness. How cool is that? This infrared vision is not a replacement for regular sight, but an addition to it, creating a kind of thermal map of their surroundings. It's like having night vision goggles built right into your eyes. An incredible evolutionary adaptation to help them hunt in a variety of conditions. So, the next time you see a snake, remember, they're not just seeing you, they're also feeling your heat. This ability to detect heat is especially crucial for hunting warm-blooded prey, like rodents. Imagine having thermal vision. That's what being a snake is like. Flying snakes sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, doesn't it? But, believe it or not, there are certain species of snakes that can actually glide through the air. These extraordinary creatures, found primarily in Southeast Asia, use the speed of freefall and contort their bodies to catch the air and glide. Chrysophilia, or more commonly known as flying snakes, use their ability to move from tree to tree and even escape predators. They flatten their bodies to increase surface area, and by moving in a serpentine motion, they are able to direct their glide either left or right. Now let's be clear, they aren't exactly flying in the same sense as birds or bats. They don't flap wings or soar high above the clouds. Instead they glide, sometimes as far as 100 feet, which is still pretty impressive for a creature we usually associate with the ground. So, not only do we have to watch out for snakes on the ground but in the air too. Ever wondered what makes a snake's venom so deadly? Well, it's all about proteins and enzymes that can wreak havoc on various bodily functions. Snake venom can disrupt blood clotting, damage muscle tissue, or even paralyze nerves. But here's the twist. While these venoms cause harm, they can also heal. Scientists have been studying snake venoms for years, discovering that they contain substances that can be beneficial to human medicine. For instance, venom from the Brazilian pit viper has been used to develop a drug for high blood pressure. A protein found in the venom of a Malayan pit viper can dissolve blood clots, potentially helping stroke and heart attack patients. Venom from the deathstalker scorpion, which is technically not a snake but bear with me here, is being researched for its potential to treat brain tumors. So, snake venom, although deadly, holds quite a bit of potential for medical breakthroughs. Would you believe me if I told you that some snakes can live up to 40 years? Yes, you heard that right, 4 decades. Just like us humans, the lifespan of snakes varies greatly. For instance, garter snakes in the wild typically live around 2 years, but in captivity, they can live up to 20. Meanwhile, ball pythons, one of the most popular pet snakes, have been known to live over 40 years in captivity. The secret to their longevity? Snakes in captivity generally live longer because they're safe from predators and have a consistent food supply. They also benefit from regular veterinary care. Don't forget though, they're cold-blooded creatures. This means they have a slower metabolism which can contribute to a longer life. Interestingly, the oldest snake ever recorded was a boa constrictor named Popeye, who lived to be an astounding 41 years old. So, getting a pet snake is quite a long-term commitment. Well, we've certainly learned a lot about snakes today. Let's jog our memory on the 8 crazy facts we've covered. First off, snakes aren't as slimy as you might think. In fact, their scales are dry and smooth, similar to a well-polished stone. So, the next time someone mentions a slimy snake, you can correct them with this fun fact. Then we delved into the world of exploding snakes. Sounds like a plot for a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? But it's true. Some snakes, when threatened, can build up pressure in their bodies and literally explode to ward off predators. Now that's what you call a survival strategy. We also talked about the jaw-dropping flexibility of a snake's jaw. A snake can dislocate its jaw to swallow prey much larger than its head. That's like us gulping down a watermelon in one go. Quite a feat, isn't it? Our fourth fact took us out of this world quite literally, as we explored how snakes behave in zero gravity. They become disoriented and twist into complex shapes, a phenomenon scientists are still studying. We then shed light on a snake's unique vision. Many snakes see in infrared, detecting the heat signatures of their prey. It's like having built-in night vision goggles. Did you know there are snakes that fly? Well, not exactly fly, but they can glide from tree to tree, which is still pretty impressive. We also discussed the power of a snake's venom. Some snakes have venom so potent that just a few drops can be lethal. Yet that same venom can be used in medicine to save lives. Finally, we touched on the longevity of snakes. Some species can live for more than 40 years. That's a lot of time for a creature often seen as a symbol of renewal and rebirth. So the next time you encounter a snake, remember these crazy facts. Who knew that these slithering creatures could be so fascinating?